Cool. So welcome, guys. Thanks for coming, Jana, Alan.
Sure.
Thanks for coming to the, I don't know what we call this, the Arctic Monsoon show, podcast, interview type thing.
Awesome.
So today we're just going to kind of go over camping as a couple. I think it's something that a lot of people are interested in, but they don't really know how to begin. Like, just kind of that awkward mix between like, oh, I don't know if I want to take my girlfriend camping. I don't know if she'll like it.
Yeah.
Going to the bathroom is probably a whole other issue. You know, being a guy, like I don't know how that works out. For a girl, it's a lot easier for a guy to go to the bathroom. So just to kind of begin, you guys have been married for what is it, about 9 months, something
Almost
like that?
9 months.
Really?
Yeah.
Almost 9? Wow.
Yeah.
What did you guys do for your honeymoon?
It was awesome.
It was awesome. I'll start, and then you can pick up.
Sure.
So we flew into Vegas, which is hilarious, and we spent a night there in Vegas, because anyone who knows us is like, just kind of laughs when we say that.
Right.
Party all night.
We got like a decently cheap hotel, but then just kind of spending our time like walking around, so that was fun. And then we got back to our hotel, woke up the next morning, had mimosas, hung out for a little bit on the strip, and then just kind of like booked it from there with our rental car. So we rented a car, which was do you remember when we got to the airport? We started off renting. We were just gonna do it like as cheap as possible, and then we got upsold to like a little SUV, which I would highly recommend.
The guy was like, "You're not gonna want like a tiny car. It's not gonna make it up the hills." And like it's like 11:30, so I'm like, "Ah, fuck it. Okay, yeah, you're right. It's not gonna make it up the hills. Get the SUV."
It's like,
if you want air conditioning and to be able to drive up hills, you can't get this sedan. And we were like, what?
And I was like, "Oh, that makes sense, right?"
And like, yeah, whatever. We were exhausted, so we just went for it. But it ended up being like a definitely worthwhile investing, because we like lived out of that thing for like 10 days. So we took 10 days off, started in Vegas, and then the next day we went to this kind of like random spot on the way in between Vegas and Zion National Park. So we knew we were going to Zion, but we had like obviously half a day to kill. So we spent it at this Valley of Fire National Park, and we tell everyone we know that like is around Vegas or goes to Zion to go, just because it's like the best way to describe it for us would have been like an adult playground. I mean, there was like hills and you were running around and jumping everywhere, and kind of the main attraction there is the petroglyphs. So that was, if you remember, I think I sent you some of the pictures. It was cool because it was like Native American drawings from like however many years ago. So it was really cool to experience that, and then mainly just kind of like running around. I mean, the sand's really fine, so that was fun, doing that kind of thing. And then after a few hours there, we drove to Zion National Park, and I think we started the bed and breakfast. Is that right?
No, so we stayed with the Mormon family.
Oh gosh, yeah, yeah.
So like really random. It's so fun. Like I think it would be a great goal for everyone in life to know someone in every state that you can always crash with.
Yeah.
And so we had the Burns family friend. So like very like not close to us, but we got to know them. And this is this Mormon family who very, very rich, generous, and like overwhelmed us with hospitality.
awesome.
And so we get to their like mansion, we get a whole wing to ourselves, and then they're like, "Oh, like get up whenever you want. We'll have a breakfast spread for you." And there was like a buffet for us the next day.
That was awesome.
They were just very generous. So we crashed there for a night, and then that next day, his family friends were actually there, so they took out a map because we didn't really plan well the trip. We had a general idea where we were going. We had some places we were staying. And so it was nice, someone who's been to Zion like 17 times or something really showed us like what hikes we should do, things like that. So the next day we did a hike called Angel's Landing. This was an awesome hike. It was, I have no idea the details of it. Do you remember anything about it? Like how high it was?
I can't tell you, no, I couldn't tell you how high or anything.
No, but you take a trolley into the park and you go to like stop number 5 or something, you get out, and then it's like a 7-hour round trip hike. And at first you're just kind of going up switchbacks, and then towards the very end of the hike for the last like hour and a half or so, you are climbing and holding onto like this metal chain that's been bolted into the rocks because there's 1,000-foot drop-offs on either side. and it was so beautiful out. You like feel like you're in Jurassic Park. So we're just like climbing, and you get to the top, and it's amazing and overwhelming. And there's people like all ages that were doing it, which was really cool. So that was really fun. So we did that day 1, Angel's Landing, and then we got beers and burgers, and then we camped that night. Yeah. And something that like the camping was full in the actual national park, so there was no place to go. But then we were talking to a friend that had been to Zion before, and then also I think we touched base with one of the local shops, and they told us that you can just camp like off property. Right off there's like there's some like open land, and I think that's like all over the place. So that's like something that we definitely will check into, because you can camp for free lots of different places and not have to pay like $50 or whatever.
Yeah, like a lot of national forests and national grasslands you can just camp.
Right.
Unfortunately, there's just none really around here.
Exactly.
In the West. They're all more out west.
Exactly. So we camped that night, and we just pulled off, found a random spot, saw some other people there, so we thought it was probably one of the free places. It's kind of hard to tell, it's not really marked. And yeah, camped that night. You fell asleep right away.
That was when we hammocked, and the stars were amazing that night, but I couldn't even stay up for the stars. I don't did I take Dramamine or something?
He was out, like Dramamine and like beer, and he was out, and I'm like watching the stars by myself, and I think I was like pouting a little bit.
Well, it's never that case. I mean, I always stay up, later than
but I had like all this energy.
And it was like the night 2 of our honeymoon, and I'm just like passed out.
Like, I'm out here by myself. So I watched the stars that night, but it was great. Next day, we did a hike through the canyons. So you rent like water shoes and a stick, and you're basically walking on like slippery rocks as far as you want to go. And it was really cool because you have these 1,000-foot walls, but you're walking through the water. So that was awesome.
So it was cool because I really wanted a goal. Like I wanted to like hike somewhere, like instead of, because they're like, you just go and turn around, and I'm like, I like wasn't really cool with that. And we found out there's this waterfall like 4.5 miles in, and we were like trying to time it. We're like, we gotta go this pace, and we'll make it to the waterfall, and we'll come back. So like we're like booking it, and Gina's like, Alan, we have to turn in our stuff by like a specific time, otherwise we get charged a second day. And so we're like, I'm like booking it. I'm trying to get there, and then like we get to this like waterfall, which is our destination, and it's like trickles.
It's like nothing. It's like 4 feet high. Like it was,
And then
I know.
And then we were hiking back, and it starts raining, and then it starts really raining, and then it starts pouring, and there's like literally waterfalls coming off of the 1,000-foot cliffs
everywhere,
which was really, really cool to see, but
and also terrifying
because
because where does water go if there's like it just rises?
Right.
So like where we were going through like ankle deep water, it was now like knee deep, and I'm like, we've been married 3 days, and we're both gonna die. And like it just like starts like spiraling, in my brain. But alas, we made it out, so that was good. So Zion was really fun.
Yeah, and then day 3 was like just a driving day. So we went to see the backside of Zion to see the sun set on the backside of the mountains, which was really cool. And then we stayed in our bed and breakfast that night.
So we had a couple bed and breakfast nights, which were good. And then we went to drove to Lake Tahoe. That was really fun. I had a friend I met in Nepal who had a second house there. So we got to stay like in the mountains. It was really funny because we had like in Zion it was like almost 100 degrees, and then when we got to Tahoe it was 30. So it was
snowing.
It was just so bizarre, and that was like a 10-hour 12-hour day of driving there, but beautiful. I mean, we were on the loneliest highway in America, which I never heard of before. Highway 31, does that sound right? I don't know. But there was like no cars, and it was through the mountains, and it was gorgeous. So that was a great day. Tahoe was a blast. I don't even remember what we did there. Tried to mountain bike. That was our first fight as a married couple.
You just weren't good at it.
Yeah, I just wasn't good. I couldn't mountain bike, so I can't even remember.
There was a jacuzzi. We just kind of hung out, took it easy, drank wine. There was a cool fireplace there.
Nice.
So we stayed there, and then next day got up and tried to mountain bike, and then that was like it for. Then we kind of like stayed in that night too.
Right, and then we went to my friend in California. I don't even know where we were.
San Francisco.
Close to, because we could drive him there. So we stayed at his house, and then we drove him to work the next day in San Francisco, which was a random stop. So we walked around the city, which is like so fun with road trips. Like you can just kind of
just stop off whatever, do whatever.
Exactly. So that was a really, really good day. We stopped and saw the giant redwood trees, which was something I've like always wanted to do. So
it was Muir Woods.
Muir Woods National Park, yeah. So that was great. And then we drove to Napa. We were there for a day, which was super fun. But I think like one of your questions was, what would you like potentially change? I think Napa would be a really great place to go with like my retired dad, and like he could pay for my wine, essentially, because one, he knows what good wine is. So like it was hilarious because we're tasting and like we have no idea what we're doing, like at all, and like people next to us like definitely know what they're doing. So it was really fun. It was the most expensive part, and we were only there for a day. So I think that'd be really good to go with like retired parents.
Someone who knows a little bit more about wine rather than us who are okay with like a $3 bottle of
$2 check.
$1 or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah. So, gosh, that was our honeymoon.
That was it, and then we flew back from Oakland.
Okay, so you guys went to Zion National Park, Lake Tahoe, and then the Muir National Park.
Muir Woods. Yep.
See the redwoods.
Also the Valley of Fire.
And the Valley of Fire, first stop.
Yeah.
What was your favorite place to go to?
Zion, I think for me.
For
yeah.
sure,
It was like very adventurous, and then we like I remember we did the Angel's Landing hike, camped, and then did the next hike the next day. So then that like bed and breakfast that night was super relaxing and nice. We watched a movie, like so it was a good mix of like fun and then relaxing. So it was good.
Yeah. Specifically Angel's Landing versus the it was cool to go through the Narrows, but I really liked hiking. I mean, it's the coolest view I've seen.
Angel's Landing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Way different than like what you see in Colorado, and we enjoy like hiking 14ers, and it's beautiful, and they'll always be my favorite or have a special place in my heart. But this was just like dinosaur land. I like don't know how else to explain it. It was just red and like looked painted.
Oh.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I haven't told that story in a while.
It has been a while,
I like
yeah.
that story. Yeah.
I'm glad. Jog the memory here. So when you guys were camping in Zion, was that the first time you guys camped together, or have you guys camped together in the past?
No, that was this.
We did at least once.
Yeah, I think that was maybe the second time, or third. The time, I don't even know if we had our tent. We did have our tent. So we got our tent. We put it on our registry. And so once we got it, we went to a wedding in Colorado. And then after the reception, we drove about 2 hours to the base of a 14er. And that's the first time we camped together.
Camped, and then did you guys hike the 14er the next morning?
Yeah, so I mean, it's so funny because I kind of look back on some of the hikes we've done and I'm like, oh, wow, that was like impressive that we made that happen. Like after a wedding reception or like, so that was the first time we camped and it was a mess. It was.
Yeah, I mean, we only slept for a couple hours.
No, it was a mess because we like, first of all, 14ers are really hard to like get to get to the like what's it called, trailhead, and so it's like super dark. You never know if you're actually going up the right road, and so then we see like other cars, so we're like, we must be close to something, let's just camp here. Well, we were camping on rocks, like it was just like we threw up the tent and it was just rocks, and then like altitude farts are so real. And like that's like all I can remember from that night was it was just both of us. It was a mess.
I remember exactly. We had like an egg casserole that day too.
Oh,
yes.
Recipe for disaster. Especially being in the enclosed tent together.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
In our 2-person, like 4-pound tent.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like.
Yeah, because Alan didn't want to splurge and register for the 3-person tent. Because I was like, maybe like if we have a dog, this would be really great to have more room, or just to have more room. And he's like, no, let's just get the 2-person tent. Like, yeah, I just wanted to be close.
Well, plus the whole idea of a dog, I just get really jealous, and I'm like, he can hang out on the side if we do have a dog at that point. But
well, I mean, what if it's raining or something?
Right.
Sleep outside.
Well, then we should just not get a dog then.
Okay. Good.
And I won't mediate here. That you guys can take that outside of this.
Yeah, sure.
And it's funny because we during our marriage prep, like during our engagement time, like we sat down, we took this like 200 question test, and like there was like very few areas where we disagreed, and like the one big area point of contention was like, do you want a pet? And like I love dogs, but like I think I'm just needy and want attention. So.
Did you have pets growing up?
I didn't. I had one. We had one bunny
I had a
rabbit
bunny too, which
for
is
like a
so
year.
random. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
Strange. Yeah, I never really had any pets growing up either. But when I went to my grandma and grandpa's, like they had just like a little rabbit in a cage they would keep in the garage.
Uh-huh.
So that was kind of like the closest thing I had to a
Right.
pet growing up.
Why did we all have rabbits? It's so weird.
I don't know. It's kind of strange.
Awesome.
I don't know if that's like a common thing or. Do you guys remember like the very first time you went camping with like your dad or your mom and grandma or something like that?
Do I?
Boy
It's hard.
Scouts.
Yeah. So mine was for sure through Boy Scouts. It's hard to have distinct memories from the very first time.
Right.
But I can remember. I'm trying to think. It probably would have been a canoe trip because that was our first trip of the year, which was the canoe trip, and it was the most fun of the year because you would just like. There was no agenda. All you had to do was canoe, and then you could do whatever you wanted for the rest of the day. And like the cool thing about doing it with the Boy Scouts was like we had our little troop, and the group of us we would plan meals together, and so we cook over a Dutch oven and everything, which I really enjoyed. But also something we got into, which like I loved, and it was so fun. Like if my dad found out, he would have like killed me. But like we would play poker for like actual money, and like instead of using chips, we would use quarters. So like I remember staying up like super late with our flashlights, betting like quarters. I mean, which like actually really adds up.
Yeah,
So like
seriously.
instead of chips, we're like throwing like dollars in. It's like this is in 5th grade. So.
Yeah. Start them young, I guess.
So what I remember was going on a canoe trip and being scared because like the older guys would come up and just like tip us, and I'd be like floating down a river with a canoe, like having
Like, what do
fun.
I do? Yeah.
Did it ever happen? Did your canoe ever tip over?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we did fine. I don't remember who my partner usually was, but we'd have to like float off and like pull the canoe off to the side and then throw it over our heads, which is like not easy when you're
Right,
10.
I'm sure. Yeah. I'm even thinking about doing it now, and like I don't know if I would be able to like tip the canoe over and then jump back in
Right.
without tipping it over again.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Just life lessons in Boy Scouts. It's good stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Jana, do you remember the first time you?
Yeah, well,
like,
I'm trying to
first
think.
few
In Girl Scouts, I never went like tent camping. We went platform tent camping
Okay,
at like a place I went, and I was telling him the real only memory I have of that. I was probably 7 or 8 when I went away for that in the summer. Was I just like loved killing like the giant black widow spiders, and they were in everyone's tent. And that's so weird because I don't do that now. I'm like Alan bug, which is like super stereotypical of me kind of, and I don't really like that, so maybe I'll change that. But when I was like 7, I was like fearless of that, and so I used to kill them, and I got Bravest Camper Award for that.
Nice.
It's pretty impressive. But then I think the first like memory of tent camping had to be when I was probably a freshman or sophomore in high school, and you go camping for one night at the summer camp that I used to go to, and I always went with my best friend, and I have great memories from that. But basically like it's a Catholic camp, so they only have like donated tents,
Right.
so you kind of get what you get, and our cabin of like 10 girls got a 4-person tent.
Cool.
And so like Sutton and I were like out late, just kind of messing around, not wanting to go to bed, super hyper. And by the time we get into the tent, there's like a section that's like the size of this little circle right here. And they're like, this is for you guys. And so we tried to scoot down as far as we could, sat down and just put our feet up the tent wall. Like,
Jeez.
and we were there for like, we were dying laughing. Everyone's like, shut up. And it's like hot and people are mad. And so we just slept outside on the grass instead. Because there's no room for us. So that's really the only thing I remember. But it's kind of fun because the counselors like don't help you make a fire, make the
just figure
food,
it out.
put up the tent. It's supposed to be like a team building exercise.
Right.
So I think that was fun. Like it's always fun. Camping's always
Absolutely.
fun. It's kind of almost some like we call it in a way. I don't know if we call camping this, but type 2 fun. So like that's what I always call like 14ers when I'm climbing them.
Okay.
So it's not fun in the moment
Right.
a lot of the time. Like 20% of the time it's like beautiful and you're excited. 80% you're like just trying to catch your breath and thinking about how out of shape you are.
Right.
And with camping it's kind of like that too, where it's more fun I think than climbing a 14er, but still it's way more fun looking back.
Right.
So it's
It's not as fun in the moment, but kind of looking back on it, it's like, oh yeah, that was a lot of fun. I
type 2
never
fun.
heard that.
Yeah.
Too fun. Never heard that. I'll start using that.
Yeah.
So you guys went on the road trip for your honeymoon this summer, went out west. Do you guys have any like a big plan that you guys want to go to? I know Alan, I think, mentioned wanting to climb every 14er in Colorado.
It's a goal of ours.
That's
Yeah.
a goal.
Yeah.
We have to start doing more than one a year because we'll be like 80 by
Right.
the time we're done.
What
So
is there, like 57?
yeah. So we have
to.
to really start packing them in. I think I've done like 6 or 7,
Okay.
but together I think we've done like 5, or 4.
Well, I think
four
good
or
start. I mean,
Yeah.
if you do one a year, you'd be done by what, 70,
Yeah.
75?
That'd be great. If we were in shape enough to do that. So
Oh,
that'd be a great
hope
goal.
we all are.
Yeah.
Any other goals?
I want to, so right now I am obsessed with like the tiny house movements on the road. I'm like following a lot of
Okay.
like Instagram
Uh-huh.
people that are doing that. I think it'd be so fun to take that to New Zealand and do it for like a month. And so you have your house in your vehicle, and then you have a tent too, and you just like drive places and camp. I have a couple friends that have been to New Zealand and some that are from there, and
Yeah.
I just hear it's like unlike anything. So
Really?
I really want to go there. Yeah. What about you?
Well, personally, I would love to do the MR340, which is a kayak. You can either do it by yourself or with a partner. You start in Kansas City and you kayak the Missouri River to St. Louis, and I think you have 5 days to do it. And so there's certain checkpoints. So they start out with a ton of people, and then they lose people by each checkpoint because, I know one couple that's done it. It was 2 of my buddies. And one of them started hallucinating and seeing things on the river because he was so dehydrated, and it's 340 miles of kayaking in 5 days. So I would love to do that. I just think that'd be fun. And then they have you can have a caravan that follows you around, and then you tent, you camp at different locations.
The checkpoints.
Yeah, so that'd be awesome. And then also Ragbri. Am I saying that right?
Ragbri, yeah.
Ragbri
What is that?
in Iowa. I would love
Is
to
that
do
the
that.
biker cross?
Yeah, you start with your rear tire in I don't know what river it is. Missouri River maybe? On the west side of Iowa, and then you touch your front tire into the Mississippi River on the east side.
Fun.
I think it's a week.
And along the way, there are just farms that open up their spaces
Yeah,
for
there's
you to camp and
farms,
stuff.
little small towns.
Yeah.
It's gone through my town. We have 1,000
Fun.
people, and they'll open up the park and just let people camp in the park. Let people shower at the church,
That's great.
school, things
Yeah.
like that.
I would love to do that. I'm not as into I would be more into completing the MR340 than I would the whole thing, but I've heard so much about it, and I have family in Iowa, so I would love to. I'd love to
That'd
do
be
that.
fun. That'd be
Yeah.
so fun.
It's
I think
coming
it'd
up,
be
it's in a month.
yeah.
Well, I wouldn't do it this
Something
year.
like that.
This summer's gonna be crazy, but
Yeah.
next summer I would love to.
Yeah, busy summer.
And then we've talked about jokingly before, if one of us dies, I think. Well, if I die, I'm dead. But if you die, I want to hike the PCT because Cheryl Strayed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wild, yeah. I've been meaning to read that book.
It's a really good book. I was upset by what movie just came out, where it was all over the cover and it was cheesy and.
Was it it was the Gilmore Girls, right?
Yes. So the Gilmore Girls repeat end season. There was 4 episodes, and I was an avid Gilmore Girls watcher. And so I was really excited about it. But then they had this whole cheesy thing where the main character hikes the PCT, and they show up at the starting point.
And there's all these white girls.
All the white girls have the Cheryl Strayed boots, and they're carrying Wild and Patagonia stuff, and it's just I'm ugh. So no, I wouldn't want to do it that way, but it is a really good book. I recommend it. So.
Check it out.
Mm-hmm.
How do you know how far it is, the PCT?
Takes 6 months.
6 months.
So, I'm not sure.
Pretty big time commitment.
Yeah. We're gonna have to quit our jobs again.
Just take a nice sabbatical.
Yeah.
So, guys, I need a break. I need 6 months to go hike through the woods.
Yep.
So your first camping trip together, you guys stayed in the rocks essentially, and had the altitude farce.
So bad.
Second trip, Alan fell asleep and left you to watch the stars.
It's true.
Yeah.
Do you have any tips for couples who are thinking about going on their first camping trip together? Things that they maybe wouldn't consider?
Well, first off, I know what I've learned over time is I need Dramamine because anytime we hike or in altitude, I'm just a train wreck.
Okay.
Which I think is hence the altitude sickness or farts and passing out.
Yeah.
Any couple advice?
I think it was, it's like not hard for me to pee outside, but if no one's done it before, I would say practice before you just like go out in the middle of the night. I think bringing like headlamps or some sort of like lantern. We have a really cool light that hooks into our tent. Okay. So that's helpful, but then also headlamps. The one thing I noticed the last time we went camping, so we went camping in March in Arkansas, and I was freezing, and my shoes are like these trendy shoes that people have. What are they called? Bean boots. Okay. But they're not warm, and so it was like 15 degrees, and I thought my toes were gonna fall off. And so we were in the tent, and this is like the surprise spring break trip that I planned for us. And we're in the tent, and I'm like literally doing self-talk where I'm like, Jana, be positive, try to be positive. And then I just look at Alan and I'm like, I think I'm having a panic attack, I can't feel my toes. And he's like, all right, let's do like whatever. So I get my feet out, and he like just wraps them in like his socks, sweatshirt, but like the one blanket we had, and then we drank a bottle of wine, and it was much warmer. So that was much better. But I think just bringing like extra, for me at least, for like my feet, extra socks, or like my hands were really cold too. So if it's gonna be cold at all, just making sure you have layers. But then also I've done the thing where I overpack way too much. So you have limited space if you're like taking your stuff with you and camping, which we did this time, and everything fit. But it was like we utilized every like inch, and we were just camping at night. Like we were supposed to camp 2 nights, but it was too cold for Jana, so we camped a night.
Yeah. And when's Arctic Monsoon coming out with the queen size sleeping bag?
That's what he wants.
Like the double sleeping bag?
Oh yeah. I want like a queen size. That's another thing I would suggest.
Queen size, yeah. I mean, we've looked into it maybe for this the holiday season.
Oh man,
it'd be a nice Christmas gift, Jana.
Yeah, we have like 3 sleeping bags for our registry, but I'm like, I already like gave you the double tent, the 2-person tent.
Yeah, I know. I got the 2-person tent, so I guess. See, that's another thing. Like when you go camping, you kind of have to like. You really kind of have to like talk about what each other needs, because like me, I don't care. Like let's try and squeeze into the sleeping bag. I don't care.
Right.
But then like also like I think it's good for Jana to like roll over and be able to like just be alone and sleep. And sometimes
because he sleeps and doesn't wake up, and like he sweats, and so like I need like my own space after like a little bit of cuddle time.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So definitely identifying like what the actual needs are of each person when you're packing.
Yeah.
I think like reading instructions is important. So I like before this trip we didn't have a like portable stove, and so I went to REI because we had a bunch of money saved up on a gift card from people buying out our registry and stuff. So I bought a like portable stove. I read the instructions. I was like, this looks so easy, and I did not bring it with us. And so we put this contraption together. We like screw on the metal piece that holds the pot, and it's gasoline. And so we turn it on, and we hear it coming out. And I just like put the flame, like put the lighter, and it just goes, and like Alan's like this close to it. And I'm like, are your eyebrows there? Like, are you okay? And like meanwhile, other people are up on this cliff with us, and like I think just ignoring us. Like there's this giant fire happening. Right. And I was like, Alan, turn it off, but it's fire. And so he's just like, I don't even know how you did it, but you like ended up turning off the gas in the midst of flames. And we learned later that we just like didn't screw on the metal piece enough, so it had like burned off some of the plastic. It was like a mess.
Well, it's funny because like you did that, and then I was like, it's okay, like I'll get it, I'll see if I can get it, and then I like kind of make a few adjustments, and I do it, and the same thing happens, like it just busts up or something. And like we're at this point, it's like one of the most photogenic spots like nearby, and like it's been used for movies and stuff, so these people are like really getting into the moment and like posing on this like cliff, and there's just like fireballs everywhere. And I think they were so into like getting the right picture that they just weren't even phased. They were like, it was really funny.
Oh my god. But then meanwhile also I'm like, I'm really hungry, like we're not gonna eat. I'm like, oh shoot. And like we had brought like dry food that you just heat up water and you pour it in.
It's like lasagna soup.
Yeah, it was really good.
It was.
Yeah, so I don't know, I think before, like, because it was before daylight savings, and so it was good that like we could have just gone to bed, but I think it was super fun to stay up, drink wine, like chat. So like if you camp before, like during daylight savings, I think it's fun to have like something planned after the sun goes down at like
Something to
5.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We've played, or I always bring bananagrams with me, but we don't always play it. It's always in my backpack. That's something we don't always need. But yeah, just having something planned to do.
It seems like wine is the common theme on your guys'
Yeah,
camping
which
trips.
adds some weight, but it's super fun.
It's good,
Super fun. Yeah.
It's probably enjoyable after a long day of hiking, you know, setting up the tent, starting the fire, all of that stuff to just kind of kick back with a bottle of wine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. It's a nice reward.
What are some like mistakes that you think first time couple campers would make?
I think like knowing each other's needs are huge because
That's a
like
big thing.
after, I mean, you can be around each other as much as you want, but like camping's just different than reality. And so like maybe like not being surprised by like experiencing things that you would normally experience with your partner. Like I can't really think of anything too
I know. I'm interested
concrete.
to hear like a concrete example.
Gosh, I don't know. Nothing specific, but like it's good to know that like, okay, like when it's time to go to bed, like I can't roll over and like sleep with Janet. Like I'm in my sleeping bag. That's where I'm at.
Uh-huh.
Which is I feel like unique to camping. Oh, this is a good one. So like, since I get altitude sickness pretty easily, like coming down the mountain, like when we hike a 14er, if I come down the mountain, like every single time I will throw up on the car ride down. So like when we drive to the base and then hike to the top, hike back down to the base and we're in our car, we then have to drive back to the highway.
Yeah.
Without a doubt, I'm gonna like puke on the way out. And like not only am I gonna puke, but I'm like several times. Like
I drive 2 feet and he goes, wait! And like opens the car door and just vomited.
And then I just like am in like a ton of discomfort and I'm like, all right, like we're going to have to stop, and like Alan can't move, so we have to pull off to the side of the road and then take a nap. And then
So Alan naps, I read Harry Potter.
so the last time Jana happened to have a book on her, which was smart, but not intentional, I don't think. And so she was reading while I puked and then passed out, and so I got some sleep, which was good, which is always good for me. And then we moved forward a little bit, and I'm like, all right, we can't do this. I have to throw up again.
It takes, so like hiking takes like 7 hours. It takes another 7 to get down the mountain.
Seriously.
Driving. And then Alan, like once we get to flat ground,